John,
Bianca, it's great to be talking to you. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. Much better than last night. How are you?
Now, as I've talked about on my show before, my wife is a full-blooded Italian, so I have to ask.
Love
Yeah, I have to ask you, scopa or briscola?
Scopa. Oh my God, John, get your wife on the Zoom right now. Well, I'm obsessed with her. I love it. Okay. I don't want to derail the entire interview, but Scopa is my family plays it every single, like all summer down the shore, all the time. Brought my fiance in. It wildly impressed my nonna, and my nonna, when he learned how to play, picked it up so quickly. I love this. I love this.
Now you had to sit back and watch everything last night. How are you feeling this morning about it all?
It's so many emotions. I'm still devastated. Like I'm not gonna sit here. I want to not be a sore loser, but I'm still absolutely gutted by what went down. But like I'm a positive person. I like to look on the bright side. I got to play Survivor. Like, come on. It's the best thing I get to say. So I'm here to tell the tale and I'm grateful for it.
Well, like I always say, I mean, no matter when somebody goes out, you beat out all those other people and actually got to live out your dream, no matter how long or short it is. And that's something to be really thankful for. Um,
Totally.
were you at when the final vote came through, were you more confused, upset, or was it a wide range of emotions? Because it was one of the most emotional exits we've seen in quite some time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was very confused. It was, that was me, like
Yeah.
totally exposed, totally raw. It was the little girl who had been watching Survivor since she was 8, just having her dreams crushed that night. So it was everything. It was heartbreak. It was despair. It was confusion. It was regret. It was gratitude. That was all going on in my face. And then what you didn't see, John,
Yeah.
was me leaving and absolutely having like the grossest gushing bloody nose because sometimes when I cry,
Right.
it triggers a nosebleed and I'm just like bleeding out like crazy. So I went down in a hot mess and I wouldn't have it any other way.
There's no better way to go out.
Exactly, exactly.
Now, obviously, we have some, uh, armchair quarterbacks, and they want to know. So, why did you tell Cedric that you didn't have a vote? Kind of explain that to everyone, what your thinking process.
Yeah. Yeah. It came down to the one thing you say you're not going to do when you play Survivor, but then you realize you do have to do when you're out there, and that's build some trust. It
Right.
really was me trying to just build a little bit of trust with one person after discovering my number one is gone, after realizing, okay, if we do go, if I'm playing these two sides pretty well, right? Like if we do go to the deadlock, I'm going to be exposed. We're going to come back. I'm going to have lied to everyone. And it was just me trying to play the long game a little bit and trying to cement some longevity in the game and didn't work out.
Now, let us in on some of your thinking behind, because obviously we don't get to see it all, but you
Yeah.
were playing both sides against the middle. What were you doing to both? I mean, we only saw a bit of that. What was your
Yeah.
plan, and how did that play out for us?
John, it was so fun. It was so much fun. Like, had I had a vote, golden position, right? And I felt alive. Like, I was like, I got these two, I got these two. Like, let's do this. And, like, sure, I hate that journey, but also it gave me that opportunity to play that way. And it was really fun. And there was a lot we didn't see. There was moments with Mitch and Chrissy that made me really want to work with them on like a heart and personal level. But my brain was like, there's no way you can bring more Siva numbers to the merge when this is kind of looking like a Siva v Logi game. Uh,
Right.
and then there was a lot not shown with me and Cedric really forging a bond and connecting, a lot of personal conversations, a conversation that we had that he verbatim told me Justin went home because Justin didn't tell me that he didn't have a vote, right? That happens and I clock that. Uh,
Yeah.
and even, things like Say and Cedric both telling me that Cedric voted for Say multiple times. Like there was definitely a lot not shown that went into that decision making process.
Now, if you had to pick between those two pairs,
Yeah.
who would you have gone with and why?
I think the honest answer is if I could have felt like Cedric and Say would work together because listen, like I have Say telling me like I don't even want to work with Cedric and I have Cedric telling me I voted for her. So didn't think it was that far-fetched by the way to get Cedric to vote for Say again. Apparently it was the hardest thing in the world. I don't know what he was doing or what game he's playing. But I think I would have gone with them only because I didn't want to bring more of a threat to the merge with more of Siva.
Now, I spoke to Thomas last week, and he had this to say about you. I
Oh,
I do think that there's an element of how effing smart Bianca is and how great she is. You don't see much of her, but she had information that she would bring me. She was so active and just brilliant and wonderful out there. What do you think about those comments? And what is he talking about initially that stuff, things that we didn't see?
he is. First of all, what do I think about those comments? I literally, my dad was like, "We love Thomas. Welcome him into our family." My mom's like, "I'm making him chicken cutlets for him for the rest of his life." Like,
He's
I
invited to sausage making and wine making,
Yeah,
right?
I adore that man. I appreciate him saying that because I do feel like because Logie wasn't going to tribal, there was a lot of my strategic gameplay not shown.
Right.
And one really good example of that is when we see Star telling Thomas and I that she had the Beware advantage. That
Right.
is actually after Star told me alone that she had the Beware advantage because I had been working her and really trying to get her on my side. So
Right.
she tells me, I run and tell Thomas, and I'm like, yo, she has the Beware advantage. You have to convince her to tell you right now. And then when that scene happens, it's me pretending not to know so I don't lose Star's trust. So that's just one example of like, oh, you don't see the full thing and a lot of the strategy that's taking place because we weren't going to tribal.
Now, did you ever get any explanation or reasoning about why Chrissy and why Cedric voted for you?
No, I'm so confused. I literally am so confused. Like, John, after I told Cedric I didn't have a vote, and this was moments before we went to tribal, like, I think it was a good thing and a bad, obviously, not a great thing because I went
Right.
home. But
Right.
like, I strategically made that decision to wait because I didn't want to give him the chance to talk to anyone. And
Right.
I think because I did it so late though, I spooked him and really freaked him out. But he didn't talk to anyone. I watched that man like a hawk, like a crazy person, like paranoid survivor player. That was me. Like I made sure he didn't talk to anyone. So Chrissy didn't know that I didn't have a vote.
Now, looking back, I mean, you got to see now everything that was going on, um, things that you didn't know.
Yeah.
What really surprised you about what was going on behind your back at the tribes?
Uh, what like just different people's confessionals?
Just yeah, what are some of the things that were going on that you weren't aware of on the island? Because obviously you don't get to see everything.
Right. That's a good question. What was I not aware of? Um, I guess it's like hard to answer because it's so much, but I'm trying to think of a specific example. Like even with Thomas not telling me that he had the advantage, for example, like I still had a gut feeling he had something because he came back from the journey and didn't tell me bad news.
Right.
So I assumed that he had something. But yeah, like for example, that was something I didn't actually know. I just had a gut feeling. What else? Like I I keep thinking of things that I like had a gut feeling about, but I didn't know. Like I knew in my bones, John, that Kyle and Camilla played an idol. I
Right.
knew that was why Thomas went home. Like there was no shot Joe and Shaheen were voting him out. And I went back to Siva Beach and idol hunted because I was in such a precarious situation. And I was like, oh, they use that idol. I'm on Siva. Like, let me go find it. It got replanted. So there were a lot of things that I'm obviously discovered watching back, but I was like, oh, I did actually have a really good gut feeling about those things that I didn't 100% know.
Now, one final question before we go, but obviously things would have panned out very different if the tribes didn't switch. And we see this sometimes when there's like three tribes, one tribe doesn't do really well, and they end up switching all the tribes around instead of letting that tribe fizzle out as what would have
Yeah,
happened in the old school. How
right.
how do you feel about that? Because it impacted your game in a very big way,
Did.
affected your strategy.
Yeah. It's easy to sit here and be like, had we not had the swap,
Right.
Thomas and I would have been good, right? Or like at least maybe make the merge. Like it's easy to say that, but at the same time, like I admire the evolution of Survivor. I have been watching the show. Like we remember Stephanie LaGrossa and Tribes getting fizzled out. Like I do appreciate as a fan and a viewer that there are these curveballs that keep it fresh and keep it interesting. And also as a player, like give us the opportunity to be put up against challenge after challenge after challenge. And like I was in a really fun situation because of that swap. It sucked that I didn't have a vote,
Right.
but that was so fun. Like I felt alive playing the middle. So yeah, the swap didn't work out for me, but it gave me so many opportunities as a player and a fan to have fun with it still.
Well, thanks again for taking the time to talk to us today. All the best of luck in the future, and can't wait to see what you have to say on the finale.
Thank you, John. Please tell your wife I said ciao and I let's make a SCOBA tournament happen. I'm all in.
Do be all for it for sure. Well, thanks again and take care.
Bye.